The following program is sponsored by The Greek, Ely's Radio Shack dealer at 570 Altman in downtown Ely, and brought to you as a public service by Georgetown Media in Ely, Nevada. White Pine County Commission meeting, January 13th, 2021.
Mike, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Elizabeth, everybody, Nicole? Good morning and welcome to the Wednesday, January 13th regular scheduled county commission meeting. Would you all please stand and join us in the pledge? Scott, why don't you lead us today?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, as is normal, we'll take the first moment to meditate, pray, whatever you'd like to do. So the first moment of silence is for that. So go ahead and do whatever. Okay, we are going to open the meeting, and first item on the agenda is public comment. Is there anyone on the phone with public comment before we start the meeting? Anybody? Hearing none and seeing none, I'll go to the audience. Has anyone in the audience got public comment? Please come forward, state your name.
Good morning, I'm Bruce Eldridge from the White Pine County Library Board of Trustees, and I'm the chairman. Good morning, Chairman and fellow commissioners. I'm here to support agenda item 2C3A, which is hiring the children's librarian position. Our staff is already running very lean, and this stretches them even thinner without this position. And reduce services. If there's an absence of current staff, they often miss lunch and breaks. So we would really like this position filled. For that reason, among also just continuing the service of early literacy in our community, which is very important. We have parents calling us consistently about resuming the Story Hour program that you all approved the plan for last year. So thank you for your consideration, and please open that position up to be filled. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Please come forward, state your name.
Good morning, I'm Kathy Brumlin. I'm a member of the White Pine County. I can talk to 35 kids, and adults scare me.
I don't blame you.
You're never scared of me.
You're fine.
I'm a member of the White Pine County Library Board of Trustees also. I retired from White Pine County School District after teaching for almost 30 years as an elementary teacher. I want to talk about a little bit about the need for a children's librarian. All of us at one time or another, I hope, have had somebody in their life that has influenced their love of reading, or at least their ability to read. The teachers do a great job of teaching how to read, but they don't have the time to teach the love of reading and the various things that a children's librarian can do for the kids. These kids have, through no fault of their own, have lost a year, basically a year of outside influence, and we need to have that librarian, that children's librarian back in to help them read. There was something that I read a long time ago, and it says, those that don't read are just like those people that cannot read. And I would like to have a librarian here to help these children love to read so they will want to read. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments before we start? I'll ask one more time on the phone. Is there anyone on the phone that would like to speak? Seeing none, hearing none. Anyone else? Yeah, George, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, on your agenda item 1C1, you're to have the first reading of 517. There's nothing in the packet for a member of the public to read and understand what you're contemplating. I believe I may have gotten it just as I came in the door. Mr. Chairman, on your agenda item 1G1, you're to consider the approval of the Ely Corral Association to perform certain upgrades. The city corrals are owned by the city, and a small area is possibly owned by the county. There's nothing in the packet to identify the property lines, and if the improvements are on the city portion, then permission needs to be granted by the city council, not you folks, unless there's something there that I didn't see. And I didn't see where you have the authority with what's in the packet. Mr. Chairman, on your agenda item 2C5-K, you're to consider the approval of resolution 2021-02 regarding the appraisal of county water rights. Do not sell the county water rights. Lease them or allow free usage if it benefits business or industry that positively affects the county with employment opportunities and tax base expansion. Do not give away your water. That's your future. Mr. Chairman, I've not received your written statements regarding the numerous concerns that I've brought before you and the county commission. I deserve more than a cold shoulder. I want equal protection under the law. Mr. Chairman, at the Ely Municipal Utility Board meeting held on December 10th, 2020, Councilman Jim Allworth told the utility board that the county golf course has used approximately 111 million gallons or more of water that have not been paid for. I want to know if the county has been billed for that. I want to know if you paid that. The city has a poor history of being accountable for proper billing. I want to remind you, Commissioner Bybee has yet to account for approximately 15 years of track rental fees from S&S Shortline when he was chairman of the railroad. We need accountability. We're not getting it. Mr. Chairman, I want to remind you that the city and the county need to solicit a newspaper that is fair and balanced. I paid for classified ads back on April 7, 2020 to be run in the local paper. The editor fails to put them in the paper as contracted. That is fraud. On one hand, they solicit one's business, but they don't perform. They advertise. What if America didn't notice? Public notices help expose fraud in government. Where have we heard that before? Dishonest business, unfair competitive practices, participating democracy, read your public notices.
George, that's a private business, and that's...
They have an obligation to this community, and they're not doing it.
It's
Did
not
I
a-
mention fraud?
Excuse me.
When
it's
I
not
pay
a-
those fees, I want
It's
equal
a private business,
protection.
so you talked about that.
Pardon me?
It's a private business, so leave it at that.
Well, pull their license then.
I don't...
They can't go
It's in the
around
city. George,
bending
we're
over
not
the
gonna talk
taxpayer
about
or
it.
senior citizens.
That's between you and the...
False
No more,
advertising.
no more, George, no more. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, on numerous occasions I come before the county commission to receive an answer to the following question. Again, how many discrepancies or deficiencies do I have to bring before you do something about the building inspector who is selectively enforcing the law under color of law? I've told you numerous times that the biggest single detriment to the growth of the city of Ely and White Pine County is the building inspector. Again, I want your answer. Other than that, the discrepancies I've found, I'm going to file those complaints against all of you guys. You pay that individual to do a job, I go before them to get before him to get a building permit, I can't get it because NRS. But I've cited numerous cases. Commissioner Carson, I've asked her at planning commission meetings, do you want to see pictures of discrepancies? She said no.
That's your 3 minutes up, George, but
I
thank you for
want
your
my
comments.
permit. You understand me?
George,
Do your job, do your job.
thanks for your comments.
You didn't want to do the job, go home.
Thank you for your comments. Okay, anyone else? On the phone? In the audience? Hearing none, seeing none, we're gonna move forward. We're gonna recess the regular county commission meeting, we're gonna go into the fire commission meeting. And on page 2, item 1, first thing in the fire commission meeting is public comment again. Is there any public comment on the phone about the fire commission or anything else? Okay, hearing none, seeing none. Anybody in the audience got public comment? George?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I brought the concern of Avenue D on the ingress egress. You brought Fire Chief Pat Stork to these meetings. He has not addressed the access to that area. You have big fire equipment. If the county's gonna respond to a fire at the Holiday Inn, they can't get that equipment through there. You need to address that, or he needs to stay away from these meetings. If it isn't a county issue, that's fine, but do not send county fire equipment to that location when they can't get through there. You're ignoring a safety issue, a fire issue, and that needs to stop. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. Any other comment? Anybody? Okay, we are in the fire commission meeting, and the first item on the fire commission meeting is, on page 2, item 1, is discussion update on the fire district progress. Brett North and Pat Stork, the volunteer fire department chiefs.
Morning. Brett?
Come on, Brett.
Been kind of slow on the fire side last month, which is good. Didn't have a whole lot going on, but emergency management side, been busy with the vaccinations plan rolling out. We've been working on that since November. Getting that in place, I've had Shannon Pierce help me with all the planning of it. We've been working together on that. I think we've got it rolling out pretty good now, so. We're already moved into tier 2. Probably start by the end of the month working into tier 3 with it. So we're quite a bit ahead of the state with it. Yesterday we did bring the hospital on board to start doing vaccinations so we can speed the process, because Shannon's having to go start doing second doses now, so hopefully that helps speed the process up on that by having them on board with vaccination. So other than that, just some grant stuff and normal emergency management business. So you got any questions?
No, but on that right there, I'm lucky. They passed it to 70 the night before, and I got my call yesterday, so I got my first vaccine. I know that Shannon and Bernadette are busy with the public health, but now we're getting Andy at Economy Drug.
Yeah.
Is authorized to give it. Now maybe Darren at the county, we can start to get some of these phase 1s, now that it's 70 and up instead of 75 and up. So you get your name on the list, you can get there, but we have different access outlets, and I think that's a good thing, so it kind of relaxes the burden on just our public health office. So I was fortunate, and I think anybody else that's in that age category right now can move forward. I think that's important to know that it's get out there, get on the list, go to Andy, go to Darren, or go to public health, and I think that's a good
The
thing.
state's got a website we've got a link to. We're gonna get put on the county website. We just got the link to it yesterday. We will have all the contact information where to set your appointments up and how to do it on that website, which will be on the county website, so people can go on there and know how to figure out where they wanna go and get their vaccinations. So.
Anyone else? Okay, I just want to add that little bit of information.
It's after 35 years, I'm out there trying to score a fake ID, and yet to make me look like
There you go. Okay. Anyone else? Let's move on.
Thank you so much, Brett.
And is that your update? That's it, Brett?
Yeah.
Okay. So item 2 is discussion for possible action, the approval of monthly financial reports for December 2020. Elizabeth?
Thank you. They are in your packets, in your backup, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. The fair district is tracking well for this year. I do need to make an augmentation at the next meeting for intergovernmental revenues, but I'll bring that forward at your meeting in February.
Okay, I want to make one quick comment before we make a motion. Commissioner Bullis is on Zoom today, so he'll be on Zoom for this meeting. I just forgot to mention that during the public comment. So Ian is here. You're here, right, Ian? I know.
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, I just wanted to let the public know that. So we're gonna take an action on item 2 right now. I'm glad to hear you're on there. Hope everything's going okay. So, does anybody have any questions on the monthly financial reports? If not, I'll look for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve?
Motion by Lori,
Second.
second by Shane. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, passed unanimous. Item 3, page 2, discussion for possible action, the approval of budget transfers within and between functions or programs within a fund that do not increase the total appropriation of the fund or adjust for approved grants/agency funds. Elizabeth?
There was just one minor transfer between insurance and travel, and looking for your approval on that one small change.
Okay, anybody got any questions? If not, I'll look for a motion to approve with that one change.
Move to approve.
Motion by Travis,
Second.
second by Shane. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none, passed unanimous. Item 4, discussion for possible action, the approval of the minutes from the December 9th, 2020 Fire Commission meeting. Does anybody have any additions, subtractions, or corrections?
Motion.
Seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve?
Motion by Lori,
Second.
second by Travis. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. Passed unanimous. The final item in the Fire Commission meeting is public comment. Is there any public comment from what we've done in the Fire Commission meeting today? On the phone, is there any, Mike?
No, sir.
In the audience, is there any? Hearing none, seeing none, we'll move forward and we'll go stay on page 2. We're gonna take one quick change and we're gonna go to, what page was that? We're gonna go to page 5, item 2A. It's under Brett, and we're gonna get this out of the way so he can go about his business. And item 2A is a discussion for possible action, the ratification of the United We Stand grant application to the State Emergency Response Commission, CERC, made by the Local Emergency Planning Commission, LEPSI, in the amount of $395,689 for equipment to combat terrorism with a required county match of 0. Anything on that, Brett?
Just that they had some extra money in the grant, so they threw it out and said, give them a list of stuff we wanted, or wish list, so myself, Pat Sork, and Scott Penroy got a list together and applied for it. See what we get, that's all we can do, so.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Any comments by any commissioners? Hearing none, I'll look for a motion to approve. Motion by Travis,
Second.
second by Shane. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
None. Thank you. We'll return back to our regular meeting, and that'll be on page 3. No, it's on page 2. Page 2 is 9:15. We're there. Okay, a 9:15 timed item. It's from the White Pine Tour and Rec Board. Item 1 is a discussion for possible action, the approval to fill the vacant seat on the White Pine County Tour and Rec Board, representing both hotels with one of 2 applicants. The 2 applicants are Brian Goringer, who previously held this seat, and George Chachis. Okay, any comments? George, would you like to speak?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, if you, I believe you've got my application dated December 30th. It was done in a timely manner. I supplemented the requirement today of the additional information that Nicole told me I had to provide for you. As you can see, I've done quite a bit over the years. I attend the meetings on a regular basis. The other gentleman does not. The other gentleman, I don't know if he even lives here. We need to have people that live in the community, have some skin in the game, and not just focused on one particular event or item. I want to remind you that you have others in the same boat. And we've got to bring it back home. People who live here, have skin in the game, and have the experience to move forward. I've got all of that. Some of the others do not. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Brian is not here to speak. If you, Brian Goringer, you're on Zoom. You can speak if you'd like. Are you there? Brian?
I'm here.
Okay, Mr. Chachis has been allowed to present his requirements or his abilities to be on the Tourism Rec Board. Would you like to do the same?
That'd be fine. I have a few things we can say. Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. My name is Brian Goringer, as you all know. I want to thank you guys for the opportunity to serve on the White County Tourism Advisory Board for the last 4 years. I would like you to consider me to remain on the board for another term. Myself, over the past 4 years, the Tourism Recreation Board has made great steps in improving tourism in Washington County. And if you appoint me for 2 more years, I will commit to keeping this progress moving forward. As to what Mr. Hodgson was saying, I do live in White Pine County. I've been taking the 3 months of winter and skiing in Utah, so I'm still a resident. I still come to the board. I'm there all summer. I have interest in the jobs with Hotel Casino, which makes me especially have skin in the game. And I've always been a proponent of tourism in White Pine County. I'd like to thank you guys for your time and considering me. And if you guys have any questions, I'd be willing to answer any.
Does anyone on the commission have a question for Mr. Chachis or Mr. Goringer? Hearing none, seeing none, I'll ask for a motion to appoint one, if somebody on the commission would like to make a nomination. I think, am I doing the right thing, Mike?
Yeah.
I'm asking any commissioner, you've got the 2 applicants, Mr. Goringer and Mr. Chachis, and we've heard from both, and I'd like to know if someone would make a motion to appoint one.
I make a motion to reappoint Brian Goringer to the Tourism and Rec Board.
Okay, there's a motion by Shane to appoint Brian Goringer. Does he have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, can you do that, Mike? Okay, second by Brian Goringer. That is you, Brian,
No,
right?
no, that was.
Oh, that's Ian?
Ian.
Okay, I'm just confused here. Hang on a minute.
Lock him up.
So, I'm sorry, but, so we have a motion by Shane and a second by Ian. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of Mr. Goringer, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
None? Passed unanimous. Mr. Goringer is reappointed to the Tourism Rec Board. Congratulations, Brian. Thank you for your
Thank
service.
you.
All right. Okay, we will now move on to the, well, we can't do the 9:30 right now, so let's see if we can find something great.
Lori. Must be Lori
All
back.
right, Lori Carter. Lori Romero. Lori Romero's on page 5, item 3A. Discussion for possible action, approval to post for Children's Library grade 117, step X at $14.96 due to a recent vacancy effective 11/6/2020 and impact on literacy. Does anyone have any comments or anything we've listened to? Oh, there's Lori.
I'm here.
Yeah, I'm sorry. But we've heard from Mr. Eldridge and Ms. Brumley.
We took the time, the board and I, to put together an organizational chart that kind of explains how the different positions in the library operate. Because yes, there's only 2 of us that are full-time, everybody else is part-time, but each position has a specific task they are responsible for. And some will tell you that 20 hours isn't really enough to do what they need to do, but they do it. So being short this other 20-hour position is a big impact, and it leaves a big void in our programming. And I would like it to be noted that the position that the individual left was making $20.19 an hour. A new hire would actually be $14.76. I think the agenda says $14.96. So right up front, you got a $5.43 savings. And this same individual was eligible for longevity payout in December, which was not paid out either. So I would hope that those would be considered towards, I know the payoff was brought up at the previous meeting that this was discussed. And I don't know if those two things were taken into consideration with that. And right now, we're in the time, matter of fact, the other Lori right now is zoomed into a training for the summer literacy program, because now is when we're doing that. So we're trying to, between her and I, cover this void, so that when hopefully we get this position approved, we're ready to jump on board. So, so our request is if we could please fill that position. We understand if it may not be till the end of March or whatever to help absorb this payoff, but it's something I couldn't plan for when I did my budget, because sometimes people make life changes in midstream and you don't know about it. So, but it is an important position to the board and for our community, as far as Ms. Brumley talked about literacy. We want lifelong learners, we want an educated community, and a lot of these kids don't have that support at home, especially with split up families. And we are getting a lot of calls about when we're gonna start programming, not by one just this morning again, so. We request if we can please fill it.
Okay, anybody got a comment or question of Lori? Any more than what she's just explained to us, Mr. Brumley, Mr. Eldridge and Ms. Brumley? And Elizabeth, did we actually pay out the previous employee?
Yes, we did.
And that dollar amount was? You
apologize.
gave us
I gave it to you at the last meeting,
Yeah,
I did
and
not
so-
bring it with me again. I
So-
can find out about that.
What we got on that was from the time she retired, it was gonna be like 22 weeks to make up the longevity pay to where we'd be at
Yeah.
0. My question, and I don't mean to start it off, but I just have a question about it. And it is that we're in a crisis, and the governor just announced a pause to leave us at 30 more days of COVID restrictions, the amount of people in each building, and all the restrictions that we have, mask bearing and stuff like that. We're also, item number 2 that I have concern about is we can, like Lori said, wait till March, whatever, we're gonna be in budget cycle, we don't know what our budget's gonna be, we definitely have an idea we're gonna get cut. There's no question about that, the state revenues are way down. We would have to look at hiring somebody, then maybe checking out to see if we can sustain that with the budget numbers we're gonna have. Those are the only 2 things, I got no problem, I'm all about literacy and children too, but I'm also about the county and our budget and where we stand. So, that's just the comments I had. I explained to you that we did pay the previous employee out, it takes 22 weeks to fill that, which would probably put us somewhere around March. I understand that the other employee got $20, and now we're down to $14.75. You don't wanna do nickels and dimes, but we are gonna be hit with some major decisions during this budget cycle, and you can count on it. So, that being said, I'll ask any other commission for their comment or whatever, and I'm not saying I'm for or against, but I'm just letting you know how I feel, what we're up against. So does anybody else on the commission have anything they'd like to add? And Ian, you're on the phone, I would welcome anything from anybody, and, is there anybody who wants to speak? Shane?
This program goes way back, and my children were raised in this program. My former father-in-law came here in the 80s as the county librarian, and so my kids were raised in this library. My grandkids were active in this program. Their grandmother brought them to Trophy Pass, their great-grandmother, and I have to agree with Kathy and with Bruce that this is just a truly needed program in this community, and I know that we're against some restrictions that. And when I looked at this, the other thing that I really had to consider is the fact that Lori also is heavily involved, runs our senior center as well, and that's carrying a hell of a burden And to be running shorthanded when you're carrying that kind of a burden has got to make life difficult. And I understand we're gonna be making tough decisions and things are going to be rough, but it just seems like we are stretching this a little too thin if we don't fill this position. And so I would have